So, I want to talk about how task switching can be really hard, and I wanted to use a recent example um, from my own life where I was struggling to change a task. It's early September, and I had decided to overseed my back lawn, and I had planned for this. I had what I needed. I had lawn food, I had lawn seed, I had moss killer, I had a list of what I had to do and what order. So I was all ready to go. So I start. So before I could actually start with, overseeding, I had to do some preparation, which involved dismantling the climbing frame that was there. There is a very bad image of what the climbing frame looked like when it was together. On the video, I decobwebbed the backyard, which was a mission because there was a lot of them. I took down my hanging baskets so I didn't bash myself on them, which I do quite often when doing the lawn. So this took longer than expected, and that is a start of an issue. So knowing how long preparation takes, yeah. So I mow the grass, I measure out the lawn and throw down the seed, and I just mix together some soil and sand to put a top dressing on, and it starts to rain. Now, it started off maybe as a little bit of rain, but it was definitely not a little bit of rain. It rained a lot. And it's almost like in those moments, there's two of me. There's the small child me that's like, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to finish the job and handle it later. And then it's like there's a grown up me stood like, come inside. What are you doing out in the rain? Don't be ridiculous. You can do this another time. And the bonus of being a grown up is that I am my own grown up. So I'm not actually being shouted at like I was when I was a child and struggling to task switch. I can manage it myself a lot better, mostly because I know that the consequences are my own fault. I'm not expecting anyone else to jump in. My daughter did try to convince me that maybe I should come in, but you know, so I did. I continued until I ran out of soil and sand mix. And what were the outcomes? First off, I was an absolute state. I couldn't see my hands because the soil had stuck to them so bad. I went to wash my hands and realized that I hadn't emptied the sink that morning. So now I have dishes that I'm going to get soil on. I had to clean up the outdoor path. I had to clean up the indoor floors because I managed to spread mud. It was messy. So, what could be learnt from this? It's one thing to tell a story about something that's happened. It's another thing to reflect on it and actually find ways to do things better. And often that's what coaching is about. That's what I would do with clients. So, things you can learn from this, always empty your sink first. I'm not being entirely serious, but that would have really helped me. Being aware of your environment is generally helpful too. It helps to know if or when you can return to finish something. This was really challenging because I didn't know when I would be able to finish it. And that can be quite anxiety provoking. If you can schedule when you can return to something or have a clear idea of when that's possible, that can really make stopping so much better. Likewise, have a reminder system so unfinished things don't get forgotten. It can be really easy if half your lawn looks like mud and the other half doesn't to remember that. But quite often with tasks, if they're not finished, then you can forget about them, particularly if you don't have good like object permanence. And then I get upset that I find things and I can get really negative, like, oh my gosh, how did I ever finish that? If I just set reminders in place, which I do now, you can do that for yourself too. Like if there's ways that work better for you, I'm particularly visual, other people respond better to auditory cues. Have a way so that things don't get lost in the ether because a lot of things can get lost in the ether if your brain processes things in a way that means other stuff gets missed. 4, having a defined endpoint can be helpful. I could be in the garden forever without a defined endpoint, and that happens with other tasks in the garden. But it also makes it a challenge because it feels wrong to not finish. That's probably been beaten into me, not literally, by family, school, society in general. If you have a lot of negativity about not finishing things, then not finishing things can be quite emotionally difficult. And that leads on to 5, have some self-compassion. Please try not to tell yourself you're an idiot or you're stupid for not finishing it or not coming in as soon as the rain started. Just take a big breath. What you did is okay. It's okay. And if you're supporting someone else, try not to be harsh on them. I never learned anything from people being harsh on me when I was younger. I just felt bad that I didn't know how to change task. And it's only an adult and having an adult diagnosis that I've been able to unpick these things and really start building these strategies in. That's what this is about. It's about putting the strategies in for yourself, for your loved ones, kids, partners, friends, to make things better for everyone involved. Something else that can really help is having something defined to move on to. If you're not very good at choosing tasks or there's uncertainty about what task is next, again, that can just be really anxiety provoking. So if you're having to move on from a task, knowing what you're moving to, someone else providing that in a role of a parenting role, give choices in that, but maybe limited choices, like 1 or 2, can be helpful. You'd have to explore whether it works for you or it doesn't work for you. Giving yourself grace to actually like come in and say, okay, I'm going to spend 5 minutes and figure out what my next move is. Make that something good. I'm going to grab a coffee and I'm just going to think about what needs to be done instead of just accidentally picking up a task that's random. So I'm hoping this is helpful, that it's relatable. I'm always open for people to chat to me about things that can make task switching easy for them. I have a crib sheet that I will probably put up soon as well of just things that other people can do to help me task switch that others might find helpful. Feel free to check out my website if you want one-to-one input on any of this. If not, just enjoy the content I'm making. Have a good day.